This is the second part of the manual. The first part is on our channel. Don't forget to look. The mysterious man approached the lady he saved and asked her condition. However, she called him a freak because of the appearance of the man rather strange. The demon was on the ground. It is clear that he is very ill. The boy was grateful with all his heart to the man because if not for him, they would not have defeated the essence. He also asked for the name of the mysterious rescuer. But it turned out that it was actually Jian Lan. He dressed in a suit and changed his image to hide from the enemies sent by the queen. The prince must keep his identity a secret and must not be exposed by anyone. The man allegedly gave his name, Wan Yun. The guy also got to know him. His name is Dim Tian Chun. He's from the 3rd grade. The Van's brother already has a team, but the man can join the hunt with them. The girl began to worry due to the fact that this man appeared out of nowhere and still looks ugly. Dim Tian Chun scolded her, as the mysterious man risked his life to save them. But the woman invents all sorts of nonsense about her savior. She apologized for this situation and noticed that she would not do this again. Jian Yun trusted the guy and became more confident. The prince thanked him for inviting him to the team. Comrades of the team came. The guy also met them along the way. They are all trustworthy and will not betray. They said hello. The guys are happy to meet. The girl was still thinking about the strange guy. They don't know anything about him, and the elder is already calling him to the clan. In every possible way, she decides to look for a way to get this disguised one kicked out. It took about half an hour. With the efforts of the team, collected the crystal and decided to leave. Suddenly, Dim Tian Chun decides to give gold to Wan Yan. Because he defeated this beast, he refused because he had at least a share of conscience. The mustachioed one offered to share the share so that no one would lose heart. "Well, yeah, where are you going to hunt demons?" says Wan Yan, to which Dim Tian Chun replies that they will go deep into the mountain range. There are many demons, and you could get a lot of crystals in a short time. However, in the depths of the mountain range, demons of the 6th rank roam is very dangerous. It is better not to go there alone. "What are the strongest demons out there?" he asks. The entire Cloud Dragon mountain range, much larger than the Tianzun Empire. The 2 empires next to it are also connected by the mountain range. There are many treasures in this vast area. The demons can absorb them to constantly evolve, so there might be swan beasts in the depths of the ridge. The disguised prince did not understand the word swan beasts. It turns out that the body-tempering orb corresponds to demonic beasts. The path-tempering realm corresponds to spiritual beasts, and swan beasts are higher than the path-tempering realm. Wan Yan remembered about the demon who was hunting him and decided to ask about him. As we understand from the words of Dim Tian Chun, this is a demon of the 7th rank. He is very dangerous. Ordinary people who encounter him will not even be able to survive. Now the mysterious man understood why his techniques were ineffective. Hearing this, he was surprised since not everyone can run away from him. "Brother Wan, your level of cultivation is truly shocking," said Dim Tian Chun. Their conversation was interrupted by a man from the clan because they needed to find the crystals and they couldn't delay. They had to go deep into the mountain range. Jian Yun and the others went deep into the Cloud Dragon mountain range to hunt other beasts. After a couple of hours, the team began to destroy the monsters. Following the target was their rule. 2 days later, they had a lot of crystals. It was a whole bag of them. It would be enough for them to share the crystals for sure. But in order to receive awards from the academy, they will be able to return only tomorrow. Suddenly, someone from above shouted for the team to leave the crystals and leave. Everyone wondered who it was and how he dared to say such a thing. After these words, a magical attack was activated on the guy as if he was thrown back. The clan was still looking for the stranger with their eyes. Wan Yun found him by looking up. Men asked him to get off as well as to appear so that they would understand who it really is. The stranger was surprised by Wan Yun as his eyes found the red-eyed one the fastest. He went down to earth, greeted everyone. Ding Tian immediately saw him and realized that it was Jian Lan from the 1st class. The team was already ready to fight with him. They threatened him with the consequences because you can't just touch your own. He was ready for the moment of judgment and said that the dead should not talk. The guys were startled by Jian Lan's statement. They jumped up and were about to attack him. Suddenly, Jian extended his magical hands. He awakened his spirit with this. Everyone was shocked by this turn of events, and unfortunately 2 men passed away. Dame Tian as well as Wan Yun were astounded by the boy's act. It turned out that this guy is a sonic martial soul. With this skill, he can destroy any creature. Dim Tian Chun asked the others to run away because the rest of the team won't be able to defeat him. Jian Lan called the man very insightful, and at the same time, Ding Tian asked Wan Yun to leave, as if he himself could detain him. The hero is jumping with a sword in his hands. He is going to destroy the magical villain. Everyone is afraid for him. People ask him not to do this, but there was no other way for him. The guy held out the sword to him, and at that moment, Jan stopped him with the help of ice, that is, he froze him. The crystal shield was literally holding him back, but in fact, the crystal shield can break from sound waves, and this turned out to be true. As soon as the ice was destroyed, the enemy ran up to him at the same second. According to him, the speed was as fast as that of sound. Jian reached out his hand and placed it on the boy's chest. Thus, he unleashed a sonic boom against him. Dame Tianchong fell to the ground. He felt very bad from such a blow. The body was not ready for such an occurrence of events. The stranger decided to say goodbye to him. The enemy was about to perform sound magic on Dim Tian, when suddenly Wang Yun approaches him and takes his hand to take revenge on him. Jian Lan was too stubborn. He was angry at him, but he suddenly manifested martial fire spirit magic and hit Jian Lan in the face with all his strength, and he flew a few meters back from such a powerful blow. The villain seemed to be carried at the speed of light. Qin Yun was proud of himself for being able to help his team, and with a laugh, he looked at the flying Jian. The team was inspired by him. He was able to do it with one blow, just destroy the villain with one blow. Wang Yun asked Dame Tianchong to leave this matter to him. He would decide everything himself. And now Jian Lan woke up. The enemy did not expect to meet someone as strong as Wang Yun here. It was interesting for him to have a fight with him. He got to his feet, and after that he began to emit sound waves. The earth began to tremble, as if there was an earthquake. It was possible to stand on the legs of spruce. The mysterious guy yelled at everyone to quickly get the team out of here as the end could end badly. Sound waves vibrated. Jian Lan's energy was so strong and all the trees shook from it. People flew up from such magic. Everything began to collapse, or to be more precise, to be destroyed into smithereens. There was nothing left of the area alive. The clan members were injured due to such a disaster. Due to the strong impact on the ground, Qin Yun's suit flew off. His identity was no longer hidden. When Jian saw him, he immediately understood who it was because almost everyone knew the prince. Only he could remain unscathed when faced with the villain's technique, and he, in turn, was glad that everyone knew him. The enemy began to tell him that the queen had appointed an astronomical reward for the assassination attempt on the prince. There are no people who would not know about him. The boy asked him a question about the reward. If he wanted to receive it, he was not interested in the reward. However, the queen had already sent White Swan Kong to finish the business with the prince. White Swan again, the guy was wondering, who is this? What does he need from me? The opponent then tells that White Swan is the only inscription master in the academy. He also won first place in the last Sky Lion tour. That's it. You should find a place to hide. White Swan Kong is out of your league. See you. Jian Lan said. And he didn't want to fight with the guy at all. The prince thought that he would steal the crystals from him. But as it turned out, he didn't need them at all. Qin Yun understood that the guy was somehow strange. He didn't just come to them. They were all lying wounded on the ground. A couple of hours later, Dame Tianchong woke up. He immediately started looking for Wang Yun. The wounded boy also saw crystals intact. It looked very strange, since in fact the villain came for the treasure. Inside, he saw a note. Taking it in his hands, he began to read, "Brother Dean, I attracted the attention of someone strong, so I left alone because I do not want to put you in danger. Guys, I leave these crystals to you. Next time when we will definitely meet for dinner," Qin Yun wrote in a note. Ding Tian was worried about him. He didn't want him to suffer. Kui Hui had been looking for the prince for a long time. She was alone in search, and White Swan had left her alone. Her stomach growled. A woman was very hungry because she had not eaten for a very long time. She suddenly felt the smell. The smell was very tasty, and she realized that it was the smell of fried meat. Kui Hui found this place smelling of food. She saw some uncle she didn't know. But it turns out that this is Qin Yun again in the guise of Wang Yun. Seeing her boyfriend was worried, he was very scared of her. And she most likely did not recognize him because she called the guy uncle. The girl asked to share with food in exchange for crystal coins. The prince felt better until Kui Hui burned him. The chicken was fried. The guy decided to still give the woman meat and asked her to leave after eating. Bilahari was very happy. A couple of minutes later, everything was eaten. She ate. It was almost impossible to describe how good she felt. Suddenly, she took a closer look at the alleged uncle. He began to remind her of someone, but the guy refused to accept such an opinion. "Most likely you were mistaken," he said. She agreed. Maybe she was wrong. And another woman said that a lot of people hunt for one guy. He most likely hid in the depths of the forest. His name is Qin Yun. She met her uncle, told about herself, and asked him why he was in such a dangerous place. "I'm Wang Yun. I've been training here, and since I'm here, I wanted to collect some crystals." The man said. Kui Hui suggested to the undercover prince that they team up. She thinks it's better to have a partner in such a dangerous place. However, he refused. He wanted to be alone. The girl was angry with him because no one can refuse invitations from such a beauty as she. Based on the situation, she decided to use her technique. Kui Hui called her uncle, began to look at him with loving eyes, and again offered to unite. Wang Yun immediately moved away from her. He did not like it in any way. The girl just wanted to be in the team, and in this way to lure the man. For a couple of seconds, the prince thought that he could step in because if he was next to Kui Hui, no one would find him, he should just keep Kui Hui close to him and then safety would be guaranteed. Wan Yun decided to unite with Kui, who in turn was delighted. However, the man expressed his opinion about interfering in each other's affairs. As soon as he collects enough crystals, he leaves. While the man was speaking his words, she ate all the meat that he got. Wan Yun started shouting at her because it was personally obtained meat, but she was hungry again, and because of this, she could not resist. And since they were in the same team, it was because of such things would be stupid to litter. It was late at night, the couple were looking for crystals together, and suddenly the girl decided to tell him her proposal that if he finds a person named Kim Yun, then in return, she will help him collect all the crystals. Wan Yun started asking for more information about Kim Yun. This arrogant, ugly, mediocre guy is pissing me off a lot, the girl said. Uncle's questions never ended. He asked her if she hated him. Kui Hui thought about the answer. She thought that the guy was not so bad. Most likely because of the queen, Kim Yun is a very talented student in his own right. And if he were her student, then everything would be much better than now. But in the end, he belongs to Master Yang. Over time, Wan Yun understood her. He thought and told her that she was not so bad at all. She asked why he said that, but they were in a hurry. So there was no time to explain. Wan Yun was walking through the forest with Kui Hui. He asked her to be quiet because there might be demons around, but she said that she should not be underestimated because she is the master of the 6th degree of body hardening and the demons are afraid of her. Suddenly, a huge green demon captured Kui Hui. She began to scream. Wan Yun saw this. The demon was very large and scary. Wan Yun did not expect this because she had the 6th stage of body tempering and the demons would not come close to her. But this octopus was a rank 8 forest kraken. She screamed for help and Wan Yun came to her aid. Kim Yun thought in his mind that if he used the sun energy technique or the blazing light strike, then she would know who he was, so he used the air blast technique that he taught in Mom. He used the technique and he freed Kui Hui from the demon's tentacles. She barely stood still and fell. He caught her, and they started to run away from him. But suddenly the demon hit him and he fell. Kui Hui asked Wan Yun if everything was okay. He said yes. She asked what they should do now, because they can't leave here. Wan Yun offered to attack him together until they find his weak spot. Kui Hui said that he would leave it to her. To them, the demon attacked again and she used the technique. A large magic ball flew at the demon and Wan Yun jumped from the trees and attacked the demon from above using the air burst technique. He hit him. His body was hard, but the demon hurt him. Kui Hui was scared for him and he fell to the ground. He was lying and there was a huge monster in front of him. Kui Hui used the technique and the magic ball flew at the demon. She came closer. The demon abruptly grabbed Kui Hui. She tried to get out, but her attempts were unsuccessful. Wan Yun wanted to help her. He didn't know how to use this technique, but he tried. There was a black shadow around him. Kui Hui said if this darkness is the seismic martial soul. Again, the demon's tentacles approached Wan Yun. They almost touched him, but Wan Yun began to swing his fist at the demon, fearing that there was a risk of harming himself, but there was no time to think about it. He hit the monster and it began to break apart, flying back from parts of his body fell off. Kui Hui was freed. She saw that the demon was destroyed. Suddenly, a red ball began to appear from it. Later, she saw that Wan Yun had an injured hand, face, and body. The girl asked a question in connection with the condition of the guy, but he was not able to answer all this. A couple of hours passed. The woman kindled the fire herself so that it would not be cold and also put Wan Yun on the ground so that he could rest. At one point, the man wakes up. He got up from the ground and does not understand what happened. The questions in his head do not give him peace. He sees all the wounds on his body and asks Kui what happened to him. "Uncle, your body couldn't withstand the recoil from using the seismic battle soul and you passed out," said the red-eyed one. The guy immediately asked a question about this. What is seismic disease then? It turns out that the seismic battle soul is very rare. It has a very strong shockwave. Suddenly realizing that something is not right, the girl asks her uncle about a strange question. Does he really not know the name of his fighting soul then? Wan Yun was confused. Supposedly he forgot about the name of the martial soul due to his injuries. He just got almost exposed. The guy needs to be more careful so that the end is not bad. Since uncle is so strong, the white-haired woman suggests that he go to the 9 Suns concentration spiritual circle. This place is guarded by high-level demons, but if they are together, they can defeat them and easily enter the circle. And the prince did not understand why all this, what was the use of this spiritual circle. But the spiritual circle was actually very influential. The 9 Sun concentration spiritual circle was created by the founder of the spiritual academy to focus the spiritual energy of the Cloud Dragon Mountain range. In the circle, cultivators can absorb a huge amount of spiritual energy to increase their skill. But if there are too many cultivators, the spiritual energy of Cloud Dragon Mountain Ridge will be depleted, so the Academy has placed high-level creepy demons to guard the circle. Only the elders of the academy can enter there. And the head of their spiritual martial academy, Zhang, broke into the realm of the martial path precisely in the spiritual circle of concentration of the Nine Suns. Wang Yun realized that the martial Dao realm was not an easy thing. Right now, he would not even be able to properly control his martial spirit. The prince had to raise his realm level and put himself in order. The uncle decides to go right now because there is nothing to wait for, relatively speaking. Kui Hui is shocked by such a proposal because the man needed to heal his injuries first and then fight the demons. However, he reports that all injuries have been healed, there is no need to worry, and they run there. Morning came. White Swan Kun was already in search of a guy. He smashed everything that he did not like on his way. Even that boy he almost hurt. His strength was very powerful, and not everyone would fight him. The villain wanted very much to appropriate the Nine Sun concentration spiritual circle for himself. For this he was ready to do anything. He weeded out the weaklings. Now it's time for a big guy, or rather a creepy creature. The guy was able to defeat everyone else, and the monster in front of him was blue and terribly scary. The monster looked at him like it was food for him. The couple approached the Nine Sun concentration spiritual circle. Blue light shone around the area. They looked at her, and especially the guy was shocked. They needed to move faster before anyone claimed this place. Kui Hui started to run and accidentally bumped into someone's hand. The woman was immediately frightened when she saw a man on the ground. It turned out to be a student from the academy, and he was injured. The girl wondered who could do this to them. Most likely they were demons, since there was no one else there. Wang Yun understood that these terrible creatures had quite a lot of power, because there were many losers. They were still tormented by questions. What happened here? This cannot be the usual power of a demon. Suddenly, the girl opens her eyes wide and sees him. A terrible, terrible entity. She literally looks at her with poisonous eyes. It was a guardian demon. He guarded the area so that no one penetrated. However, this entity did not move. It was as if destroyed. It seems that someone is already inside the spiritual circle of concentration of the Nine Suns, and this is not at all easy. The one who did all this is really very strong. There can't even be such people, they think. Suddenly, they saw a paper on the monster's hand. Kui went to take it and realized that it was not a simple paper, but a talisman. Wang Yun was so smart, the prince in disguise knew that it was an exploding talisman. He shouted for the girl to throw this thing away immediately. But she did not have time to do this. A powerful explosion of the earth abruptly occurred. They were thrown back very far. A furious storm formed on the ground. The couple fell to the ground, but only Qin Yun was able to immediately get to his feet. All this seemed to him a kind of trap, because it just doesn't happen like that. And now he appears before our eyes the same White Swan Kun. He comes out of smoke and was struck by the guy as he was able to dodge the exploding talisman. Suddenly, Kui Hui wakes up. In a moment, the girl realizes that White Swan is here, and he had to go after Qin Yun. And the academy will not accept him because he destroyed everyone in his path. According to the rules, it was impossible to do this. The villain greets her. He destroyed everything so that their team could enjoy the energy of the circle together, but no one should know about this. For example, that uncle next to her, he cannot know this situation in any way. Suddenly, Wei uses his spirit, and with it, he wanted an unfamiliar man to be injured and forget about it. Kui yelled at the guy because he saved her life by giving food. Suddenly, Wang Yun shouted that he was fine. Do not worry about him. It turns out that White Swan's flames did not rush through him. His strength was so powerful that the fire did not pass through him. The guy was at a loss. In fact, usually everyone is burned because of the flame, but such a light did not harm his uncle. The enemy realized that things were not going well and decided to use their more powerful talisman, or rather the lightning effect. Wang Yun didn't care about all this. He was so strong that he didn't even feel any pain. The prince took off his cloak. He raised the fire spirit of the sun and was ready for a lightning strike. With his strength, my uncle was able to stop this and destroy the thunderstorm from the first time just to smithereens. Everything became clear to White Swan because the talisman does not work for people who have a flame-fighting spirit. The girl has questions about her uncle. In fact, he had a seismic fighting spirit, and now somehow he uses the flame technique. No one expected Wang Yun to decide to attack White Swan again, but it happened. The guy jumps on him with two flames in his hands, and he did not expect such a turn of events. White Swan Kun decides to take out the Earth Activation Talisman to use it as a shield against fire, and Qin Yun didn't care at all. He broke the earth with his fist and then hit the guy. Because of such a powerful magical blow of the prince, the enemy almost lost. The man seemed to fly back like a bird and then completely hit his back against a stone. The prince then thought that he was strong, but in reality it turned out not to be so. He thought, Kui Hui knew that their fight would lead to bad things because if White Swan got angry, he would instantly become serious. He then liked the strength of the guy. He had not fought strong people for a long time. It looks like he needs a talisman stronger than those previous ones. He takes out a talisman and attaches it to himself. As we understand from the words of the woman, this is the talisman of God. The guy actually has high-level talismans, and this is very bad. Won Yun still ran to the enemy, and the talisman was already activated. His eyes shone very brightly, rays formed from his magical talisman that protected him. The flame in the prince's hands was very strong. The boy was counting on victory and therefore ran at him, intending to hit White Swan again. The villain was very angry and aggressive. With the help of his strength, he was able to finally push Won Yun back. All his actions were very strong. The guy did not even have time to look back as a fist had already flown into him. The prince was in a lot of pain. Won Yun gradually began to fall down. Wei would not just let this matter go. He rose to the maximum height. The villain abruptly trampled everything that was near them with his feet. Qin Yun lay on the ground, losing to the strongest White Swan for the first time in a long time. The opponent was still aggressive. He opened up his hand to his full height and was about to hit the guy with magic power, but suddenly Kui Hui held him by the hand. She screamed at him. The girl asked him to let him go. The uncle did not pose any threat to them. The villain did not like all her ideas. He just wanted her to be on his side. Won Yun woke up. The prince tried to stand up, and meanwhile, Kui asked him to leave immediately. But everything was not so simple. The guy wanted to finish this business with his own hands. White Swan, upon hearing this, realized how arrogant this boy was. Won Yun abruptly took off his disguise completely and put it on so that his identity would not be revealed. However, now Qin Yun was not going to hide his identity. The red-eyed looked at him with shock. The woman did not even imagine that she could meet him and be with him almost all day. The villain, in turn, was glad to see the prince. It was all worth it, so that his efforts were not in vain. He had been looking for Qin Yun for a very long time, and now he has found it. The former prince had such a strong spirit in his hand. He had all sorts of interesting magic tricks up his sleeve. White Swan decided to destroy it with the help of the god's sword. The sword was shining. It was just impossible to turn away from it. Qin was ready for this fight. The hero shouted to him to attack him, and it happened. White Swan extended his sword and slashed at the boy. Everything was shattered into smithereens. There was literally nothing left of the place. Kui Hui almost flew away because of the strength of both guys. Due to White Swan Kun's strength, a huge hole was created. Qin Yun got there because of the guy's aggression. Seeing this situation, the girl felt a little ill. She understood that the guy who saved her had just fallen into a huge hole. White Swan regretted what he had done. He did not know that there was a huge hole under this circle. The pit was very long. It seemed to go to the core of the earth. In some strange way, Qin Yun survived. All his clothes were torn. The boy was surprised that he was still alive since he had just been in battle with God. Sharply opening his eyes, the prince saw some strange room. From there shone the purple light. Looking more closely, Qin realized that this was a source of spiritual energy, and finding this place was very difficult for an ordinary person. Now everything became clear to the boy. He found out where such a large concentration of spiritual energy came from. Later, everything fell into place. It turned out that this was the tomb of Lin Bing Lian. She was the founder of a spiritual martial academy that disappeared for nearly 1,000 years. She used her body as a core for a spirit circle, and it took her too much strength to do so. Out of the corner of his eye, Qin Yun saw a strange chest. The boy's curiosity haunted him. It would not be very good to touch other people's things, but the prince decided to just look there. Inside the box was a note. Whoever reads this note, deliver this jade tag to the Azure Spirit Star Palace, Zalor Spirit King. After this is done, you will receive a reward. It is inside the space ring. The prince roughly knew Lin Bing Lian's character. She was too gullible. He decided not to complete the task and instead take the ring. If I can survive this test, I will deliver it. Since this is a reward, let's see what's in there. If I direct a little spiritual energy into the ring, what will happen? Qin Yun said. Suddenly, a spark came from the ring. The thunder that hit the box transformed for a second. A bunch of spiritual potions appeared in it. Qin could not even imagine them in such quantity. These were high-grade spiritual potions. Each of them cost a lot on the market. With these spiritual potions and the rich spiritual energy here, he could easily increase his strength and power. Since then, 2 whole days have passed. All the potions have been drunk by the guy. Qin Yun's entire body shone with bright fire. It was something indescribable. Now he had reached the 6th level of the martial realm. He was so strong that he could destroy almost everything. Even though he had reached the upper realm, he still needed to become stronger, since at this stage, the guy will not be able to defeat White Swan Kun. The prince will have to study the scrolls left by the master and make his own talismans. Qin longed for the moment when he would come out. The guy really wanted to meet White Swan Kun. Not a little time has passed as we see the talisman was made. His first personal talisman was completed by him. It was a talisman of flame. The fire was stronger than the guy's spiritual flame. It exploded right in his arms due to his clumsiness. He needed to practice more with the talisman. Qin Yun wanted to try making a lightning talisman, and he succeeded. But as soon as the talisman was formed, it was hit by a strong current. The prince was very hurt by such a blow. The guy did not understand why everything was going wrong, and he decided to deal with it immediately. From the moment the guy began to deal with the talisman, 7 days have passed, and Martial Arts Academy has already had the winner's election. White Swan Kun's father was sure that his son would take first place again this year, because he always won. However, the director was going to wait until the last moment. There was still a little time before the end. It was too early to draw conclusions now. This battle tournament has been going on for a week now. Some disciples have already returned. Look how many demonic crystals are here. Only my son White Swan has the most, who can take first place besides him. It looks like this is the final result, father said. Master Yang worried that Qin Yun had been gone for such a long time. She wanted him to return as soon as possible because she was confident in the boy's victory. Kui Hui was gloomy. She did not want that boy to lose, and also White Swan, apparently against the rules of the game, took all these crystals for himself. The time was up. The director was about to announce White Swan as the winner, but suddenly they heard a scream from far away. It was our hero. Qin Yun had collected so many crystals that no one could have imagined. The headmaster turned to look at him, and his father turned with him. The prince shone all over against the background of the sunset. He had a whole huge bag of crystals on his back. It was clearly larger than White Swan's. Yang was glad that his student came. She fluttered in the sky with happiness. The opponent was very angry at this situation. White was sure that the guy would never come back. But Kui Hui was very happy for the prince. She thought that he was no longer alive. The guy approached White Swan. He began to mock him and laugh. Qin Yun also accused him of stealing the crystals. The villain managed to steal all the demonic crystals from the academy participants. The guy's aggression increased. White Swan began to say that he was just lucky, but that luck had just ended. The teacher immediately interrupted their conversation. The Martial Arts Academy would not tolerate White Swan Kun's antics and rude actions. He, having heard all this, became agitated and released the prince, but still threatened him that after that day he would not let him go. Yang was glad to meet Qin Yun. She had been waiting for this moment for a very long time and had confidence in her disciple from an early age. The boy did not have time to say that he had returned. The master immediately hugged him. I knew it. After all, you are my student, said the woman. The moment came when the director announced the end of the Heavenly Lion Fighting Tournament. Now the judge will count the crystals and announce the results of the participants, and he also asked to open his boxes to everyone. Not a little time has slipped by. The judge has counted all the crystals and is now going to announce the top 5 participants. 5th place, Yan Yun's 4th Division, 112 demonic crystals. 4th place, Ryugan's 15th Division, 149 demonic crystals. 3rd place, Wang Chen's 11th Division, 176 demonic crystals. He announced the participants to the 3rd place. Now the time has come for the result of the 1st and 2nd places. 2nd place went to the disciple of the 9th Division, Qin Yun, 270 demonic crystals. 1st place, 7th Division, White Swan Kun, 806 demonic crystals. The father was proud of his son because he had just won such a tournament. The judge announced the results of everyone, and now the moment has come to announce the winner. Qin Yun became the winner. White Swan got angry. The guy did not understand why he did not become the winner. The man started yelling at the judge with the reason that they forgot how to count, and also what the hell was the winner in the end, Qin Yun. The prince only had 270 demonic crystals, and White Swan had 806. In fact, he should have won. Even though the villain has more demonic crystals, Qin Yun turned out to have a master demon crystal. White Swan Kun was at a loss as to where the boy got the demon master crystal was on his mind. The spiritual demon crystal shone and stood out from everyone. It was quite huge. It turned out that according to the rules, the crystal of the demon master is equal to 1,000 ordinary crystals, and therefore Qin Yun won. How is that possible? Qin Yun is only at the 4th level of the martial realm. How can he defeat a spirit demon? We said. The judge got angry in response to the guy. He said that the academy never discriminated against those who have little strength. Despite the referee's answer, White Swan was still angry. The villain argued and reported that Qin Yun was cheating since spirit demons have the power of martial realm. How can a weak prince in the 4th level of martial realm be able to defeat such a demon? The guy was still trying to piss off White Swan. He thanked him for the villain helping him in the spiritual circle. And he, in turn, did not understand him. Our villain asked himself. Qin Yun told everyone that he was now at the 6th level of the martial realm and was able to improve a lot. This was the last straw of White Swan Kun's patience. He decided to fight the prince again. Due to aggression and thirst, the guy had spiritual energy itself. He wanted to break everything to smithereens. However, the enemy stopped when he heard his father's voice. the father ordered him to stop right now and not to do those actions that White Swan wanted. He began to say that the guys are both strong in their own way. He had heard about Qin Yun a long time ago and was not disappointed by him. I'm Wei Yang. Congratulations to brother Qin Yun for winning the Heavenly Lion Fighting Tournament. I'm hosting a dinner party at my home tonight. Brother Qin Yun, please come. Father said. Yang, instead of the guy, answered that her student would definitely come to the invitation, and the father, after these words, left with his son. The prince understood that this was a trap, and it was definitely not worth going there, but Yang informed him that Master Wei was more cunning than anyone else. We must go to him now or he will follow us later, and also if it is dangerous there, then together they will certainly be able to escape. The guy, having heard the words, felt shy of her because until that moment no one had protected him. The judge approached and congratulated Qin Yun on his victory. He handed him a pass to the source of the Heavenly Lion. And he also explained to him about the source of the Heavenly Lion. This source is intended for hardening the body. You can also take any one person with you. And you can enter the source only 3 times using the pass. It must be used wisely and carefully. Qin Yun decided that he would go alone for the time being because he wanted to see everything himself, but the master also wanted to go with him. Having decided nothing, they ran to the source so as not to waste time. And that's all. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to watch other videos and subscribe to the channel. If you want to continue, write in the comments. See you soon.